Hi everyone, I'm your instructor James Marcuzzo, and I cannot keep it bottled up anymore. I have to make a video about the Dylan Matthews article. A surprising number of you took a shine to his arguments, and I'm not mad at you, and you'll never suffer or be punished or penalized in any way for liking an article I don't like. There's really only one. Or for having ideas that I disagree with. There are plenty of you that will disagree with me on a great number of things. It's perfectly fine. But I think the Dylan Matthews article is not a good article because it makes bad arguments. And so I want to talk about those briefly with you here. So, the world's unfair. Biology and socialization make the world unfair, right? Some people are stronger, faster, smarter, better looking, and healthier. And some are not. Some are less. That's not fair. And then some of those people also might have two parents that are well-educated, well-placed socially, politically, in business world, whatever, and they pass along good traits, values, and behaviors. So you've got some people that are just worlds apart in where they start in the world. And that's not fair. And we haven't found any good non-tyrannical ways to try to combat that. And I'm not even sure we should combat that. But he makes that point, the world's not fair. Okay. But his article is basically structured like this. Equality of opportunity bad. It leads to a totalitarian nightmare. Here are other things that are unfair about the world. And so equity is the solution. Right? That's the basic structure of his article. I'm going to break down the big argument that I have with his argument about equality of opportunity and then his conclusion about equity. And there's a shockingly weird connection between the two, which I'm not sure if he does on purpose or if he's just that crazy. So equality of opportunity is complicated because it operates with a word that we understand, equality. Equality means sameness, similar, or fairness. We're all equal before the law, which means we're all the same before the law. In intent, not always in practice. We're all equal in value as humans. Right? We all have the same human value. Your happiness is no more valuable than my happiness. My suffering is no more valuable than your suffering. Okay, so we do have this idea that equality means something like sameness, and that's what he's playing on when he talks about equality of opportunity. But it's also wildly inaccurate because in practice, equality of opportunity isn't about sameness. It's about removing roadblocks. It's about removing the roadblocks of sex, of identity in general, race, ethnicity, religion, whatever, because those things aren't a measure of what you're capable of, right? And that's where he starts to make his argument against meritocracy, that it's some zero-sum game, which is, by the way, not true either, nor does he defend that argument. Right? We're in a market system where the more people play the game and the more people produce, the more people benefit. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not. A zero-sum game is if there are a finite number of pieces, and once the pieces are gone, everyone else starves. That's not what our economy is like. So to say that meritocracy assumes some zero-sum game is not true. It's not accurate. More people join, more people create business. That's why immigrants are good. Right? If a zero-sum game was true, then more immigrants would mean that all of us get less. And we know that's not the case. Some people want to argue that's true, but it's not accurate. So his argument against meritocracy in this zero-sum scenario is BS. But he says equality of opportunity is bad because it will lead to this totalitarian sameness, because he's operating on a different definition of equality than what equality of opportunity is in practice. Now you might say, well, then that's kind of a bad term, equality of opportunity. I agree. It is a bad term. It's not very representative of its truth. Now, does equality of opportunity lead to a totalitarian nightmare? No. In its worst cases, it's led to affirmative action where there are quotas for certain identity groups, either of a sex or of an ethnicity or a race or whatever. And that's unconstitutional, and those have been shot down. It's suboptimal. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's not great. And that's what equality of opportunity has led to in its extremes. So we've seen that. Now, here's the funny thing. His equity conclusion doesn't explain what equity is. I know what equity is. But he seems to think that equity is just a better measure of success. We do stuff like that right now. No, equity in practice is, at the end of the day, we're all the same regardless of our inputs. That means regardless of our capability, regardless of our knowledge, our effort, our acquired skills, none of that matters. At the end of the day, I get the same type of bed as you get. You get the same type of house as I get, or apartment, or shack, or closet, or whatever, and the same type of food, and the same type of everything, because that's equity. And so I said I was going to draw this back because his weird conclusion is actually strangely connected to his weird opening, is that totalitarian nightmare, that's actually equity. Equity produces exactly that thing, that weird totalitarian sameness. That's equity. So, consider, or don't, but I couldn't leave it alone. That's a bad article. Those are bad arguments, and you're not a bad person if you thought they were okay, but I do encourage you to consider maybe he didn't make very sound or well-supported assertions. Talk soon.